In 2017, we experienced the Tubbs fire. I think we really felt like that was the major wildfire that we were going to have to face. So I felt like, well, Santa Rosa is just going to be going through this long-term recovery, and never imagined that we'd be layering on these other disasters. So what's most surprising to me is since 2017, in 2018, we had a major floods in the Russian River area in Sonoma County, which did quite a bit of damage there in our West County. And again, people were evacuated for some amount of time. There wasn't the kind of destruction that there was in the fire, but it was a good reminder that these disasters take different forms. Like, so there we are having the fires because of a drought. So kind of intellectually, the last thing you think is like, okay, the next thing we're going to be worried about is too much water. In 2019, we had another major fire, the Kincaid fire. And then in 2020, we had the August complex fire and the glass fire, on top of COVID. So in terms of the recovery from 2017, we haven't had another wildfire of that significant in terms of housing loss. We lost 5,600 homes overnight. And that recovery on the housing, it's slow. At the time when I talked to other communities, they said, well, it's going to take like 3 to 5 years. And it felt like at that moment, a really long time. And I would say we're just of the two major neighborhoods that were destroyed. The Coffee Park is pretty much, rebuilt. People are moving back in just recently. The other major area, Fountain Grove, actually, I just moved into Fountain Grove a couple weeks ago myself, and it is, probably about 2/3 rebuilt and about half occupied. So the housing is coming along, but it's been quite lengthy, and we're still struggling with overall our housing stock and affordable housing. And one thing that's really notable in terms of the disasters that have happened since is the community trauma. I mean, it is just visceral when there is the smell of smoke or these fires, just the compounding impact of that. And in the Kincaid fire, the entire county basically was evacuated for a number of days. And so in that fire, we learned really about how damaging not just destruction can be, but the displacement of people, even for just a few days. So the stories with all these disasters become this tale of two. And you see the people who have access to resources, the trauma and the devastation is with them as well, but it's a different path than people who do not have resources. And so what we really saw in the Kincaid fire is even just a week without work and losing the food in your refrigerator is enough for thousands of people to need food and financial assistance. So that was another layer. In a way, that experience has been what in the early days of COVID was what we saw the most of. It was the loss of jobs and the loss of food, and that continues. So that was in 2019. And then just recently, both in August and in September, we had these major wildfires, the August complex fire and the glass fire. The August fire, there was more destruction in Napa, but some in Sonoma County. And the glass fire, we lost some neighborhoods of homes again. And again, all of this during COVID. So it just gets more complicated all the time. So we opened this Sonoma County Resilience Fund just, within 48 hours of the 2017 wildfires to raise funds for long-term recovery. So we knew from others around the country going through disasters, we need that support for the longer term. We thought our work would be in a 5-year time horizon, as these disasters have come and we see ourselves as long-term, that long-term timeline keeps being extended. So for our foundation, we've really pivoted. This has become a core part of our mission and not a, one-time effort. The challenge is because we're in the philanthropic space, so all of the resources we're raising are from private philanthropy. In 2017, at that time, we were a really national story. And we were, people love Sonoma County. People around the Bay Area and people around the country. We even had, international donations. So we felt this outpouring of generosity. It was like we were being hugged by the rest of the country and sending resources our way. So we were able to raise fairly swiftly over $10 million. In the disasters that have happened since, what we're really experiencing, I think, is twofold. One, the disasters are happening everywhere. So there was a sense in 2017 that other communities could kind of pay it forward and send resources our way. And we've looked to try to, do the same. And when there are disasters in other parts of the country, we encourage donations their way as well. But what you see now is that people have to support where they live, and the disasters are happening everywhere. So there's not that kind of support from other places. This fall, you saw that not only with philanthropy, where there weren't resources to come our way, you also saw that in the support around fire departments, and just the people that were coming in were able to get resources from around the state and country before it was spread thin. So it's a real concern. And I also experienced that that donors are having what we call disaster fatigue. That they're able to kind of dig deep and give for one disaster and maybe two when it feels like a one-time thing. But it's hard to harness the resources for this in a really long-term way. And we just hope that people don't move away and feel like this is not, that Northern California or Sonoma County is not a place where people can live and thrive. We don't see that. There's stories of some people leaving, but I think everyone is still really committed to our community. If there is a bright spot from 2017, it's that we were able to build some collaborations and trust that have served us well moving forward. And in terms of the public and private agencies working together for fire prevention in the future. We've already had some of those collaborations formed that we can just build on those and didn't have to start from scratch like we did in 2017. And there's some innovative approaches for sure. Like I know our wine growers have been putting together sustainability plans and a climate adaptation certification for many of the vineyards and wineries in Sonoma County. So that's a positive example. And then we have some public-private partnerships working alongside CAL FIRE in terms of fire prevention. So there's some good stuff going on, but it's hard to just not kind of brace yourself for next year. I mean, we're all kind of thinking like, okay, we're over this season. Can we please be over this season? And just literally all doing rain dances, hoping for some rain. But I do think that there's an acceptance that we're in this for the long haul, and a growing awareness around that this urgency is not for the next generation, or for 2050, but that the action has to happen now on all levels.